Welcome back to Night City, Chooms. After a delay caused by me falling headfirst into 2077, I'm back with a review of Night City Stories by Atlas Games. This book is by far the beefiest of all the licensed Cyberpunk 2020 adventures at 144 pages, which is pretty hefty for a Cyberpunk adventure, though this review is going to be short because I can't talk about much without spoiling the adventures, so I'm not going to. The book consists of The Slow Boat from Chiba, Sweet Revenge, Parts 1 and 2, and Deadline. So how does this hold up compared to the official 2020 books? Is it worth going on the mad quest to actually find a physical copy? Well, jack in and stay tuned. I'm Mr. Welch, and we're headed to the city of brotherly hate to find out. Night City Stories came out in 1992 as a licensed book from Atlas Games. They had put out over 10 licensed adventures of varying quality, and this is the one that grabbed a lot of attention because of the value of the book. Where Arasaka Brainworm or Bone and Horse was $8 for a 32-page adventure, this was $15 for a massive 144 pages. The book was written by Scott McKay, and the cover art was provided by Doug Schuler. David Brown and David Douglas provided the interior art. The book starts out with the introduction of the Crossroads, a local drinking hole recommended by the author, but easily switched out for one of the parties choosing. This is pointed out by the author, so it's a minor detail. The adventures are for somewhat established and experienced parties. The various NPCs aren't looking for new runners to prove themselves, but rather need people with known reputations. In other words, play a few games before you throw the party into this book so that they have the necessary skills. First up is The Slow Boat to Chiba, which involves the party getting hired for a heist that of course goes sideways pretty quickly. After a fake out in the first couple of minutes to put the party ill at ease regarding their employer, it's off to the exposition scene. There's a lot of fluff in this adventure that serves no point other than to pad the adventure, as it's never read to the players and doesn't do anything except to give the GM an idea about the motivations of NPCs. But it's a lot of fluff to explain what could have been said in a couple of sentences. Without giving up too much, as this has several twists before the party gets paid, they're going off to face actual competent government security and discover that the entire operation is based on bad intel. There's a couple of opportunities for all the various roles involved, but they're going to need at least one net runner because a major chunk of the adventure requires a data fort infiltration. Trigger-happy players can ruin this adventure quickly, so remember to include some characters with cooler heads. Sweet Revenge Part 1 literally starts off with a bang, as an unknown party gives the characters a warning 1 minute before somebody puts a missile through their abode. Once that's out of the way, they are then approached for the job to get them back on their feet. There's a lot of exposition in this part of the adventure. The Game Master is going to be reading almost a full page of dialogue to get the adventure fully underway. Just a warning. You're also going to need a netrunner again, because that is a major part of this adventure, so you're going to need something for the meat-based runners to do as well. There's a lot of sneaking around to obtain the secrets the party is hired to find, but there's not a lot of room for combat. You have to do your best to keep the solos in the party from getting bored. Deadline is the third adventure. It opens up with a damsel in distress with a mission for the party and only 5 hours to get it done. Stress that part heavily. There's no time to go shopping. There's a lot of fluff for the GM's eyes only again, and once again it looks like it's just there for padding. The adventure is going to remind players of large chunks of 2077 or the Alt Cunningham storyline for a bit, but that's just to hand the players the final bit of the adventure. There's no real net running in this one, partially because of the plot point the players are trying to uncover. There is some serious one-on-one combat at the end, but the adventure really doesn't tie the events together neatly to finish it off. Sweet Revenge Part 2 wraps up the quadrilogy. This adventure features the return of several NPCs from previous sessions, and again a hidden enemy is out to get the party with no idea who it is or why they hate you. And again, a simple theft mission goes absolutely sideways because of bad intel, unless the party listens to their contacts. There's a lot of combat in this one, so much so that the adventure gives them an out to hire mercenaries for the final battle. There's also a bit of net running, but nowhere near as much as Slow Boat to Chiba. There should be enough adventure for all the various roles, just not always at the same time. Night City Stories is a very mixed bag of adventures. Sometimes a particular role gets the spotlight the entire adventure, other times certain roles never find a moment to be useful. There's a lot of background information the party will never see, and that's just there to fill out the book to 144 pages. A few NPCs stalk the party throughout the adventures, but the parties will never know that. Back in the day when this book was $15, this was a great deal. Now the book is almost impossible to find physically, and a PDF will run you about $10. I'm sure the second-hand market prices put this book out of the realm of viability, especially with the adventures being rather average. Before I go into my copy of Cyberpunk Red that I finally managed to acquire, I do have one more book that was hiding in storage, that one being Atlas Games' Green War. So I'll finish that one before launching into the review that is 4th edition. But until then, CD Projekt Red, why do you deny my ability to express my love for lovely Rhino, my sweet, sweet snoo snoo?